Well, viewers, a global Islamist terror plot to avenge the insult to Prophet has been busted in Russia. The Russian security services caught an ISIS suicide bomber en route India to allegedly kill a leader from the ruling party. Times now accesses his confession tape where Azamov reveals how he was radicalized to blow up himself in a bid to avenge the Prophet. Russian sleuths claim he was recruited in Turkey and then radicalized online and trained for a suicide mission. The sensational terror bust has the shields up of Indian security apparatus. While a red alert has been sounded, there has been a chorus to dismantle the Islamist mindset slowly poisoning India. Remember, viewers, how open calls of Sar Tan Se Juda against Nupur Sharma were backed by the very same ecosystem which fanned Islamist fury in India. Now watch how they have enabled those today who have declared jihad on India.
Yeah, Azamov Mashakhan Tahor Ola, Tisish, Dilso Binasa Faragado, в апреле 2022 год дал байат амиру исламских государства по имени Юсуф Таджики. В 2022 году приходил специальную подготовку в Турцию. В 2022 году по указанию Юсуф Таджика я летел в Россию. Я приехал в Россию, откуда должен был выехать в Индию. В Индию меня должен встречать было и необходимые для встречать и дать все необходимые вещи для совершения теракта. По указанию исламских государств за оскорбление пророка Мухаммада.
All right, let's straight away go across to Dasha Chernyshova, reporting from Moscow 4 Times Now. Dasha, thank you for taking out your time and speaking to us here on Times Now. What more can you tell us? Anything that you've been able to pick up from sources within the Russian authorities? Because we've picked up details of this man. We've closely followed the confession tape. And it's very, very clear that this is an ISI agent that we're talking about. He was recruited in Turkey. Thereafter, via Russia, he was to come to India to carry out a deadly terror attack against one of the representatives of the ruling circles here. But what more have the Russian authorities been able to share?
Yes, as we have heard from the Federal Security Service, is that they have identified and detained a man from one of the Central Asian countries. Now, he was in Russia, where he was supposed to travel then to India. He was indoctrinated online through the Telegram Messenger app.
All right, we'll just reconnect with Dasha. She's trying to get us more details on what we know about Azamov. Now, remember, what we can tell you is that he was getting prepared in Turkey as per what he's confessed to the Russian authorities, then flew to Russia and was thereafter to fly to India to carry out a terror attack. I believe Dasha is back with us. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So he was in Russia, and then he was supposed to travel to India, where he was supposed to be given all the necessary things to carry out the suicide attack against one of the members of the elite of the country. So essentially, Russians have identified and detained him, and certainly we will be getting more details as to what is happening. But what Russia has said before is it is very important to have the interstate cooperation when it comes to countering terrorism threat across the globe. Definitely, the Islamic State is one of the organizations which is outlawed in Russia, and Russia has been very active in fighting against that. In April, we have heard about another ISIS recruit who was detained in Russia. He was plotting.
Okay. We have a trouble with that line with Dasha, so we'll go across to her in just a bit. But yes, she's breaking down details of the kind of crackdown that has taken place in Russia. Now remember, it's Russia that's detained this ISIS suicide bomber who was there to plot an attack on a member of India's ruling circle, and that's exactly why this becomes very, very concerning. Yes, Dasha, I believe you're back with us.
Yes, absolutely. So Russia has made it clear that interstate cooperation is one of the keys to fighting against the international terrorism as well as the international crime. And definitely this is one of those examples when Russia is showing that it is ready to provide its part to the global effort.
Okay, all right. And anything that we know about how long this particular suicide bomber, suspected terrorist, was in Russia for? When is it that he moved from Turkey to Russia, and when was he then eventually planning to head to India?
Well, these details are still to be verified, but as we understand that he traveled to Russia earlier this year, no more details have been provided to be exact.
All right, we'll try and reconnect with her in just a bit. But yes, viewers, this is certainly concerning because this terrorist has said it in clear words that he was to come to India for fulfilling the attack for insulting the Prophet Muhammad. Dasha getting us more details on what is it that the Russian authorities have been able to track so far. Yes, Dasha.
Yes, absolutely. So at this point, we understand that the Russian authorities have prevented and identified and detained him. So no more details have been revealed, but that happened this year, that he was recruited, indoctrinated, and was given a task as well.
Okay, but we have no idea, is it, on the kind of terror outfit he was associated to, because there is certainly a clear ISIS link, but how is it that he was recruited? Where did his training exactly take place? Was he somewhere else before Turkey? Do we have any more information on his background?
We know that he is a native of one of the Central Asian countries. Then he was recruited when he was in Turkey, particularly then he was indoctrinated through this Telegram channel. And this is what Russia has been warning of, that the international terrorists are now using the most advanced techniques to get to the masses, to the...
Okay, so yes, he was indoctrinated via social media app as well, and that's also very concerning, something that the Indian agencies are also monitoring very, very closely, how ISIS is using various internet-based social media platforms to propagate its ideology. Now, India also at this point in time, Dasha, wants to understand more on, where this man is coming from, because though his intent is clear, if we go by his tape, we know what he was up to, what his intent was, what his aim was when he was finally in India. But also what's concerning is that he had his plan in place in India as well, because we are picking up details with regards to his confession tape that he had people here in India as well who he would have eventually coordinated with to finally go ahead with his plan.
Well, we understand he was supposed to travel to India and to get all the necessary things in the country. So we don't have more details from the Federal Security Service. But definitely what they have said is that he was planning that while he was a member of the international terrorist organization. And this is particularly alarming. And Russia is saying that is why the cooperation and the interstate level to fight against international terrorism as well as...
Okay, we're time and again losing that line with Dasha, so there's a poor connectivity there, but we're going to keep trying to go across to her, because it's very, very important at this moment on the details that the Russian authorities have been able to pick up, because India also extremely concerned at the moment. And the larger plot here, Dasha, is something that's extremely worrisome, because, here in India, unfortunately, we've seen several incidents come to light wherein one particular remark made by, someone belonging to a particular political party here stoked a lot of controversy. But the fact that it's going beyond India, we've already tracked something from Pakistan earlier on, but the fact that it's now going across to Turkey and via Russia is where this entire bid was, foiled by the Russian authorities. Anything else? Did they pick up an intel input? What is it that the Russian authorities acted upon to begin with?
Well, the Russian authorities are not revealing that much of the detail, except for the very fact that the man was detained and identified. And that's probably one of the key issues here, that they are able to do.
All right, seem to have lost that line once again with her. We'll keep going across to her because it's very important. Viewers, now remember, there are several confessions that this particular suicide bomber has made. He's made his intent clear. He's spoken of how there was a clear plan to go ahead with a terror attack. I believe Dasha's back with us. Yes, you were making a point, Dasha.
Yes, the point I was trying to make is the importance of the interstate cooperation, and the fact that Russia has managed to identify and to detain him is very, very important, particularly given the fact that Russia is saying that it is viewing the uprise and the strengthening of these ideologies in the region and globally as well. The Islamic militants, Russia says it is a very acute threat, and they do say that interstate cooperation is paramount if we want to fight these things together.
Okay, and we do know the official stand of Russia when it comes to radical Islamists, and that's exactly where Russia and India are together in this very fight. But any official statement that has been put out by the Russian authorities so far, Dasha?
Well, so far we have had only the FSB statement, but definitely we will be getting more details. But certainly, again, that falls into the general line that this is happening and the countries across the globe have to work together.
Okay. As far as this man goes, Azamov, he was recruited in Turkey, radicalized online. Anything you can tell us about, the social media platforms that were used to radicalize him, that were used to communicate with him?
Well, this is the Telegram channel, as it has been noted by the Russian Federal Security Service. The Telegram app, in fact, is one of those that is actively used by many. The media, the TV channels, they are all, the news agencies, they are all.
All right, Dasha, Chernyshova reporting from Moscow. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details. India monitoring the situation very, very closely. Well, viewers, if we talk about what's happened today and the details that have come to light, remember up until now we came across multiple threats being given to Nupur Sharma. The AIMIM MLA, for example, Imtiaz Jalil, who gave a call to hang Nupur Sharma and expelled Apna party leader who announced 10 lakh rupees bounty to behead Nupur Sharma, followed by a cleric from Bundi who threatened chopping off hands of those who dared to speak against the Prophet. And then came the news of how assassins were being sent from across the border in Pakistan to kill Nupur Sharma. Today, we're once again talking about these very people because this ISIS agent from Turkey, who's been held in Moscow, was tasked once again to commit a terror attack. He was tasked to commit a terror attack in India for allegedly insulting the Prophet. The question then is the same ecosystem that stopped short of painting a target on Nupur's back also responsible for fanning this hate in India and abroad among the radical Islamists? Let me quickly open this up with our guest joining us this evening. We have Tushar Gupta, senior editor, Swarajya with us. Also with us is Ibrahim Ayaz, lawyer, and a fellow panelist. Mr. Ibrahim Ayaz, I want to begin by asking you, who do we really hold accountable here? Who is responsible for fanning this kind of hate, fanning the fury of radical Islamists? Because up until now, we saw several politicians come out and not just condemn Nupur Sharma's remarks. We saw them in black and white paint a target at her back. And what that led to was cross-border instigation. We had a person who crossed over from Pakistan, was tasked to kill Nupur Sharma, and look what it's transpired to. We have the ISIS who is actively involved, who's aiming at the same very thing now.
See, in this instant case, it would be premature to say something unless a proper inquiry is done and something comes out as concrete. As it looks that this seems to be some type of conspiracy, because it's not a person who must have been hiding at a particular place. He has been moving from place to place. As we see that he has been in Turkey to India, India to Russia.
Mr. Ibrahim Ayaz, how is it a conspiracy?
I mean, looks like
we've just translated what he said in Russia, in the Russian language. We've just translated it and put it out for our viewers. He says it in very, very clearly that he was tasked to carry out a terror strike for allegedly insulting the Prophet. It's his words. We're not making this up. And neither are the Russian authorities.
That is what I say. It needs to be seen whether what he says, whether he really meant it or he was sponsored by someone or it's a plot being done. Why? Because he has not been hiding. I say if he was there in the India, do you think that the Russian intelligence is more, accurate than the Indian intelligence and they could not find it out? Because he has been, traveling right from Turkey to Russia, Turkey to India, India to Russia. It's not a person who must have been staying at a place and then making, some plans or plan to do something which the Indian government or Indian agencies
but then by that logic, Rizwan Ashraf, who was caught by the Rajasthan police a couple of days ago, who crossed over from Pakistan, he too was tasked, with the very same aim to kill Nupur Sharma. You would say even that was scripted?
That's what I say. It need to be seen what is behind it, how the gentleman has come, where from he has come, what is he doing. Unless a proper inquiry is done, unless a proper inquiry is done and
No,
things
but that still doesn't answer my question on as to who is responsible for fueling that radical mindset. Tushar Gupta.
Yeah, good evening, Christian. I'll answer that question because my fellow co-panelist clearly doesn't want to. It's the people who were blaming the BJP, the 8 years of intolerance, the 8 years of imaginary minority appeasement, who were blaming Nupur Sharma, who were justifying the actions, the brutal killings rather, in Udaipur and Amravati. These are the people who are responsible, and time and again I've stressed on this aspect that we have to divorce fanaticism from politics. What you have before you is a problem of fanaticism, driven by religion, driven by ideology, driven by a terrorist group, whoever. That's a different investigation. But it's the problem of fanaticism. You cannot narrow it down to two political leaders. You cannot narrow it down to two political parties. Even now, you're asking a very simple question from my fellow co-panelists. Who is responsible? It's people who give cover fire to all the other people who make these defensive calls against the likes of Mohammed Zubair, against the likes of people who commit actions in Amravati and Udaipur. There were people who were saying that what happened in Udaipur was a natural reaction, to use the word natural reaction, to what Nupur Sharma said. These are the kind of people who are responsible for accelerating this fanaticism. To answer your question, the brutalist in the clearest of words, Christy.
Yes, absolutely, because several did back then whip up, Mr. Ibrahim Ayaz whip up paranoia. Now, it might have served their political, ambitions, but certainly did have grave consequences as well. And I'm afraid I'm running out of time, so I'll have to leave it at that, and we'll take this conversation forward later in the day. But yes, while ISIS is a problem of yesterday, today and tomorrow, as we all know it, the fact also is that this suicide bomber arrested in Moscow confessed to being tasked to commit a terror attack for insulting the Prophet in India, and must make us ask once again, can we blame this very notorious terror outfit without actually questioning those who directly or indirectly enabled this hate within India? Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this debate.